Make sure you subscribe on all platforms and leave that 5-star review. Let's get it.
How have you adjusted to the style of the NBA?
I'm one of the people that the NBA had to adjust to.
So just watching them from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, just seeing the progression. But nobody stood out to me so far.
Talk about it!
You are now tuned in to Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets.
Family, what's good? Welcome back to another edition of Above the Rim. Hoops talk for the streets. You already know how we do, family. Brought to you as always. It's your host, Justin, aka Just Blaze. Family, you know the drill. To get in contact with me, you can always hit me up and follow me on Twitter at JustBlaze_513, on IG at JustBlaze513, on Facebook and YouTube. Search Above the Rim Podcast. Also email the show as well, Above the Rim NBA Podcast at gmail.com. Tap in and leave a voicemail. You know the line is always open. 908-718-1592. Best way to support the show is by commenting your merch. You already know how we do. Link is in my bio. Show some love. Always easy to find. I appreciate it, of course, family. Lots of things to discuss on the docket today. We're getting into a Western Conference preview leading into the season, and you know it's going to be a crazy season. So let's get right into it, man. I don't like to waste a lot of time. The Dallas Mavericks, got to the NBA Finals last year. My question for the Dallas Mavericks going into the season: did the Dallas Mavericks suffer enough agony in losing to the Celtics in the finals to come back with a vengeance this season? The Dallas front office, they pushed all of their chips in the middle of the table to supplement the leading core of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and that's what leads me to, let's go over the line. They brought in Klay Thompson, they brought in Quentin Grimes, they brought in Najee Marshall, they brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, Kessler Edwards also as well. And that's what leads me to my next question, right? Obviously, Klay Thompson is a big fish that they brought in, but how will Klay Thompson handle meshing and filling a role in the early days in Dallas, right? And if Klay Thompson doesn't click right away in his role with the Mavs, can he stay the course and work through it? When we talk about Klay Thompson, right, we see how his season ended last year. His confidence is very volatile right now, and I'm sure that he wants to get off to a hot start this season, right? And prove that he's still the same guy. But what happens if Klay Thompson doesn't click right away? What happens if his shot is not falling right away in the early portions of the season, the first 10 games, first 15 games? He had career lows all across the board last year, which led to his eventual departure from the Warriors. But if his offense doesn't get off to a hot start, will Klay Thompson's defense suffer? Who knows? It did last year. Hopefully it won't this year, because the Dallas Mavericks actually need him to be a defensive stopper in that lineup, playing with Luka, playing with Kyrie Irving. He's going to be asked to fill a little bit of a different role for the Dallas Mavericks. So let's see how it works out with Klay Thompson and if he can adjust to his role sooner rather than later. The LA Lakers. Who is going to be the third guy to be relied upon around LeBron James and Anthony Davis? I feel like I'm asking this question every damn year. Every year I'm asking the same question over and over. But you know what that means? We never got an answer. Who is the third option? Is it Austin Reeves? Is it D'Angelo Russell? Is it Rui Hachimura? Is it Max Christie, who just got a new deal? Who is it? D'Lo was the third leading scorer last year with 18. Austin Reeves, he had about 15 last year for the Lakers. Who's going to be that third option? And who's reliable as the third option? I'm no fan of D'Lo. A lot of people who listen to me know that I'm no fan of D'Lo, so I don't think he's a good enough third option. Austin Reeves, he's solid, but can he be relied upon for a whole season? We know LeBron James is going to take his, weekly sabbaticals all throughout the season, take time off. Anthony Davis is going to get hurt once or twice throughout the season. Can the Lakers sustain those injuries? They really didn't do any pickups. Their main pickup this offseason was Bronny James. I'm going to repeat that. Their main pickup this season was Bronny James. This is a team that's trying to make a championship run, and your pickup was a star player's son. That's not good enough. JJ Redick, that was your other pickup. Our first time head coach, a podcaster turned head coach, player, podcaster, analyst, head coach. Come on now, the Lakers. You guys didn't do enough in this offseason to really solidify yourselves in the upper echelon of the Western Conference this year. You didn't do enough. So that means this is another year of relying on LeBron James, hoping, praying, wishing LeBron James plays 1,000,000 games, puts up 28, 8-8. And that's probably not going to happen. It's not going to happen, which leads me to my next question with the Lakers. Is this a championship year or a circus year for the LA Lakers? And when I say circus, I mean, is this season going to be all about another LeBron James tribute year with LeBron James coming in? Everybody has to pay homage to LeBron James the whole year. You know, not saying he's going to retire this year, but going on his little tour of, these is his last couple of years in the NBA. Is this going to be a circus year? Am I going to have to hear about this Bronny James shit all year? All year? Come on now. I'll deal with it for the first 10 or 15 games or so in the season. But when we start getting down to the nitty gritty of the season, game 30, game 40, when playoff position starts to be of major importance, I don't want to hear about this Bronny shit anymore. It's about championship or nothing. LeBron James, I said before, he's in his 22nd year going into in the NBA. There's no time to waste, okay? And speaking of that, if it does go bad, how will the team handle adversity with new head coach JJ Redick? First-time head coach JJ Redick. Excuse me, he's damn near the same age of some of the people on the team, JJ Redick. So how is he going to handle adversity with this unit? Yes, the team has been together, but how your coach handles adversity also trickles down to the team and how they handle adversity. Will they be connected or will they fall apart? We're going to see with the Los Angeles Lakers. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns. Do the high-powered Phoenix Suns offense have enough defense and chemistry on this roster to keep pace with the rest of the West? Yes, they can keep pace with the rest of the West, but it's not about keeping pace. It's about winning the championship with this roster. All of these guys on this roster want to win a championship. They picked up 2-point guards, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, to solidify their turnover and late game inefficiency problem from last year. But I'm not so convinced about this roster as some others are. Yes, it's a great roster. Yes, it's a solid roster. Yes, they have solid pieces. But do they all fit? Do they all match? Do they have a little bit of everything? Right? Yes, Tyus Jones will certainly help organize the offense, put their scorers in the right positions, as the Suns were 10th in offensive efficiency last season. But Tyus Jones is 6'1". That starts a trickle-down effect in a roster, which means Bradley Beal is going to start at 3. Are you serious? Bradley Beal starting at the 3? Who is Bradley Beal guarding at the 3? Bradley Beal is 6'3", 6'4". He's not guarding small forwards in the NBA. Look at the Suns last year in the playoff series. Who guarded Anthony Edwards? They struggled. They had Josh Okogie, got smoked. Devin Booker got smoked. Bradley Beal got worked. They have no Royce O'Neal. Has been. They had nobody that could guard Anthony Edwards. And throughout the West, there's a whole bunch of guards like that. And they are all big guards. So who are the Suns going to defend on a nightly basis? You can't ask Kevin Durant to be playing full-time defense like that. He's going to be playing a 4. He's already playing out of position in the bulky West. So I don't know. Yes, the offense will be exceptional. Yes, the offense will be great. They will score a lot of points, but I'm going to be honest, some defenders might be looking at the Suns like food right now. And to me, the Suns are going to have to outscore everyone in this season. Can they do that? Who knows? But the question is, will it work? Or will they start to have some buyer's remorse on Bradley Beal by the end of the season? We're going to see how the Suns look shaping up going into the season. The Memphis Grizzlies, one of my favorite teams, right? The Ja Morant renaissance has begun. Ja Morant needs to solidify himself as a superstar again, and he will be right back into that MVP race this season as he was before the last couple of years, right? All eyes on Ja Morant on his comeback, and I couldn't be more excited to see Ja Morant come back this year. I expect the Grizzlies to come out with a vengeance this season and go back to being a team that's the hunter rather than the hunted. The Grizzlies play best under the radar, and let's see if this team is motivated and focused enough after a humiliating year last year. Their new pickup, Zach Edey, rookie out of Purdue, big guy. You see how he's been working in the preseason. He's replacing Steven Adams. It could be risky, but very rewarding at the same time. Zach Edey, he's going to be very critical to the lineup as he allows Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. to play his natural position at the 4, giving Ja another lob threat, another guy he can go to when he draws in the defense in the paint, right? The pick and roll is going to be so critical, so crucial for the Memphis Grizzlies all year. That's going to be their bread and butter of their offense, especially with John Morant at the helm, right? So Zach Edey is going to be at the top of the list of the rookie rankings. He's going to be at the top of the list in terms of importance for the Memphis Grizzlies going into this season. San Antonio Spurs. Will Victor Wembanyama solidify himself as a top 3 player in the NBA this season? The Spurs haven't reached the postseason since 2019 and haven't won 40 games in any of the previous 5 years. Wemby came onto the scene last year and completely changed the direction of the entire franchise. A building block, a generational star Wemby is that he came in, right? Now you added in a Chris Paul. You added in a Harrison Barnes. And the growth process now for the San Antonio Spurs, it becomes accelerated. San Antonio last year, they struggled to find a primary creator last season, right? They were using Jeremy Sochan as point guard a lot. They ranked, I forgot what they ranked, but they used Sochan a lot at point guard, and it didn't really work out well for the Spurs. Nobody liked how that looked. It was a little clunky. It was weird. So it was smart of them to really pivot off that and really bring in Chris Paul, bring in a Harrison Barnes to really solidify a unit. And the team last year, they ranked 23rd in points per possession by a pick and roll ball handler. And we know bringing in Chris Paul, all that shit goes out the window, right? And let me tell you right now, let me put this on the set. The San Antonio Spurs will make it back to the playoffs and could possibly shock the world. You heard it. You heard me say it. I'm bullish on the San Antonio Spurs right now. The synergy between Chris Paul and Wembanyama will be incredible this season, and Wemby will reach another level this season better than last year. He's going to be in the MVP voting, but he probably won't have enough votes to get the award, but he definitely will be in the MVP race. Defensive Player of the Year is a complete lock for Wemby. Both he and CP3 should turn into a top 5 to 8 duo in the league this season. I'm assuming, I'm projecting, right? If you guys remember, CP3 is at his best when he's in control of the offense, and the Spurs will absolutely let him do that. Greg Popovich has already given him the keys to the franchise. He said you can alter the offense, you can run the offense how you see fit. You know, he just wants him to play, he wants him to be Chris Paul, and I think that's something that really was attractive to Chris Paul going into the San Antonio Spurs. So shout out to him for that. And one of the more underrated players in the league right now, one of the more underrated players on the San Antonio Spurs is going to be Devin Vassell. 24 years old, shooting guard. He had a solid season last year. He was the second leading scorer of the team last year. I'm expecting a lot more production. I'm expecting better production from Devin Vassell. And I'm telling y'all, he's all right. He's solid. I'm telling you, he's going to do some big things. So look out for him being one of the more underrated players coming into the season. It could be possibly one of the most improved players going into this season. Moving on, the Denver Nuggets. Their pickup was Russell Westbrook. I know they caught a lot of people by surprise, but can Russell Westbrook become a defensive menace this year? Will he provide that extra spark that the Nuggets need? Russell Westbrook believes that the Denver Nuggets, head coach Mike Malone, he said that he's going to maximize his skill set, saying that his former teams didn't allow him to play the style that he wanted to be. He said his skill set is unique. The Lakers, the Clippers, all of the Wizards, all those other teams didn't put me in a position to really utilize my skill set, right? And he could be right. He said he was playing out of position on all of those teams. He averaged 11, 5, and 4 last year for the Clippers, largely in a reserve role. He's going to be playing more of a reserve role also, but this one is a little bit different. I think he's going to be playing a lot with Jamal Murray, more so than we think, right? Jamal Murray, you know, yeah, he's a great number 2, but he's not the best number 2. You know, he's a really great number 2, but he kind of tailed off a little bit last year. I believe he got his extension this year, 4-year, $208 million max extension. Last year, he averaged 25 points per game and 40% from 3 in his first 3 postseasons combined. And you look at last year in the playoffs, while the Nuggets lost, he only averaged 20 and 32% from 3 last season in the playoffs. So he's got to step up. Russell Westbrook should help him with that. And I'm actually excited to see the pairing between those two because I think Russ is going to be solid this year. Playing with Jokic, another triple-double aficionado the way he is, I think those two are going to work well because they're not asking Russell Westbrook to run the point all game. Jamal Murray's running the point. Jokic is running the point for damn near majority of the game. But I am worried about the Denver Nuggets losing KCP, replacing him with Christian Braun. He's a little bit on the younger side, and he may not be able to be that long-range perimeter threat that they need. So they need other guys to step up as well. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors, my question for them going to the season, who is going to be the best person to start next to Steph Curry at the 2 guard? Is it Buddy Hield? Is it DeAnthony Melton? Is it Pods? Is it Moody? The Warriors are again going through another transition year, and putting Draymond at center is full-time is not sustainable to me, in my opinion. So I feel like their starting lineup is going to be fluctuating throughout the year as it did last year, but that really was the issue. They could start Trace Jackson Davis at center. They could start Draymond at center. And then what's going to happen with Kuminga, right? Jonathan Kuminga, he wanted this, to be his team, or he wanted a larger role. We're going to see him in a larger role this season. And what's his best fit in this new look lineup? Is he playing the 4 with Draymond at center? Is he playing the 3, with Looney, Draymond, and then Kuminga? Can he play the 3? Who knows? We're going to see how Jonathan Kuminga fits going into this year. LA Clippers. What is the LA Clippers offense really going to look like? Are they really trying to rely on James Harden ball this year? Are they really relying on a 2018 James Harden offense if Kawhi is not 100%? Media day, James Harden had a lot of, interesting comments. He said the new look Clippers offense is going to involve a lot of me, he said. He said the offense is going to evolve a lot of me. You know what that means? I'm getting the rock. The rock is in my hands. I'm making the decisions. I'm controlling the offense. I'm dictating who gets the rock whenever I see fit. Now, is that the best idea? Is that the best strategy for James Harden? I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I'm shocked that Ty Lue is doing it, but we're going to see, because the Clippers are going to have to feature him as the focal point of the offense. His usage rate last year was 20%, which was the lowest of his career since he was on the Rockets. And I don't know if this Harden-centric basketball is the best way to go for the Clippers, right? So we're going to see how that works out. Kawhi Leonard, he's still dealing with swelling in his knee. They say he's going to be out for the rest of the preseason. He may not be ready for the opener. We'll see. But I don't know. Obviously, they lost Paul George, which is the main thing for the Clippers. And I don't think everyone on the team is that mad about it. I saw the comments from Powell. He said with Paul George leaving, he saw it as addition by subtraction. More guys are getting opportunities, including myself. You hear that? That means he's gone, I'm getting the ball more. So let's see. The Clippers had a lot of pickups, so we'll see how that's going to work out. The Minnesota Timberwolves, my question for them, is this now fully Anthony Edwards' team after Karl Anthony Towns' exit? I believe so, and it should be. Had a breakout performance in the postseason last year. He cemented Anthony Edwards as one of the faces of the league, cemented him as probably the best 2 guard in the league over Devin Booker. There's still 1A, 1B, maybe 1-2, depending on how you slice it, depending on how you look at it. But playmaking is where Anthony Edwards is going to make his mark in this season, as he's already an excellent 2-way player. Now, will his playmaking take a step up? Will it? It should. It needs to. Mike Conley is a year older. Julius Randle's there now. Dante DiVincenzo. The ball is in his hands, or should be in his hands majority of the game. So I expect his playmaking to get better, and I expect his assists to have an uptick this season. Excuse me. The Oklahoma City Thunder. My question for them, could Oklahoma City Thunder be the best defensive team in the league? Think about it. It's not as crazy as it sounds, right? I'm looking up and down the pieces of this roster, and don't sleep on this defense if they are proper and if they are healthy. Josh Giddey out, Alex Caruso in, Isaiah Hartenstein in. I like what these boys are doing over there in OKC, acquiring the pieces that fit. I said acquiring pieces that fit. Some people like to get splashy names, but they don't fit. OKC acquired pieces that fit. With Caruso and Hartenstein. SGA is clearly in for a big year. Got Lou Dort, one of my guys, respect New. My man Lugens Dort still on the roster. So they are going to be a formidable defensive unit with SGA, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, or maybe Hartenstein starts, who knows. But they're going to be a formidable defensive unit in my opinion. Let's see. Quote me on this. Check back in with me at the end of the year if Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be the number 1 defensive team in the league. I think they really have a chance to. The Sacramento Kings. they are another team that's very intriguing to me. DeMar DeRozan, their big pickup of the summer. Is DeMar DeRozan going to be happy in Sacramento? Is he going to be happy? I don't know. Basketball-wise, I love the move for him. Fits in well. He fits in need for the Sacramento Kings. But lifestyle-wise, is he going to be happy? We know he wanted to be in LA, in the Lakers or the Clippers, or in Miami. Is Sacramento a suitable replacement? Now, there's still California, but the shit ain't the same. Sacramento is not LA. Sacramento is not Miami. I'm sorry to tell y'all, but let's see if it actually really matters to DeMar DeRozan or if it's just about basketball. The pickup, has the potential to pay a lot of dividends for the Kings, and they're one of the most underrated teams in the league. He's here for the playoffs, and DeMar DeRozan could take over a series as a nice compliment to Swiper Fox, Malik Monk, the dog, and Domantas Sabonis. So we'll see how the Kings work out there. The New Orleans Pelicans. Who told the front office that this roster construction fits? The Zion Williamson point center era is about to begin. Will it last? Who knows? They lost Valanciunas, no suitable replacement for him. So now the Pelicans are looking at opening the season with a disgruntled second star in Brandon Ingram, possibly too many mouths to feed on offense, and zero legitimate big man centers on this roster. They starting Herb Jones at center, which is ridiculous to me. And I think that's probably going to last about 10, 15 games or so. Because they're going to get smoked, especially on the physicality side, on the rebounding side. So none of their players are particularly good rebounders. So I don't know what went into the decision making to start Herb Jones at center. Clearly, it's out of desperation. The Houston Rockets. My question for them: which one of you young boys is Ime Udoka going to cut for a win now vet this year? Sengun, Jalen Green making babies all over the place, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Amen Thompson. All of these boys are under the age of 24, but are they all focused? I don't know. They had third overall pick. Reed Shepard was drafted to be the future of the franchise. Which of you guys will step up and completely solidify yourself as the young piece to anchor a team? But we know Ime Udoka. In the past, he's not about that development phase. He gave y'all 1 year. He wants to win now. And if a veteran star becomes available, you best believe Ime's going to try to make that trade. So all of you young boys are on the clock right now for the Houston Rockets. The Portland Trailblazers. My question for them: it's time for Scoot Henderson to show up. I was one of his biggest supporters coming into the draft, and I still am. He had a tough rookie year behind Wemby and Chet, but this year is a clean slate for Scoot. Portland has to do something with that center rotation. They are in flux right now. They have DeAndre Ayton. They have Tom Lord. They drafted Donovan Clingan. Who's getting moved? All of these boys need to keep their bags packed. If you are playing in Portland right now, don't unpack your suitcase. You might be on the move. Scoot Henderson, you my guy. I need you to step up this year. They're clearly in rebuild mode, Portland Trailblazers, but they have no salary cap to work with, so we'll see how that works out. Last but not least in the West, got to get to the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz only had one priority this offseason, was extending Lauri Markkanen. They did that, but now what are they doing? They have no direction. Or maybe they have a direction that we don't know. That was their main key. They kept Lauri Markkanen, but I'm not expecting much from this team. Will Hardy, the coach, he's going to try to develop the young pieces more, but where are they really going to go? They are a bottom feeder in the West, let's be clear. They'll win a couple of games. They'll win a good 15, 20 games, but who cares? Get ready for the lottery, Utah. You stink. I'm not expecting much from this team, family, so let's not even spend too much time on the Utah Jazz. But family, that was my Western Conference preview. I appreciate you for joining me again for another episode. I'm telling you, I'm making these short, quick, sweet, right to the point. Get in, get out. I appreciate you, family. As always, make sure you hit me up on Twitter, IG, and Facebook for your NBA takes. I know y'all love to talk a lot of shit to me in my DMs. Take them to the timeline. Let the streets see what you got to say. Y'all love to argue with me in my messages. I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna start ignoring those shits. Hit me up on the timeline. Let me know how you feel about a lot of these NBA takes. Let me know how you feeling about the Western Conference going into the season. And let me know your power rankings too, because that's coming up. Sending your voicemail with your thoughts, 908-718-1592. Family, sending those voicemail. Write down your your Western Conference power rankings, your predictions in the comments when this comes out on YouTube. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. This is episode 226, and we out.